Hello, I'm CJ Wellerman, and in this episode, we reveal how and why Israel is behind the so-called Muslim grooming gang conspiracy that once again is rocking and roiling the United Kingdom. But first, please remember to like and subscribe to our show. Now let's get into it. If there's one thing Israel has learnt from the Nazis, it's the propaganda technique known as the man in the mirror, which is to falsely accuse your victim of doing the exact same thing you're doing to him. In other words, every Zionist accusation is a confession of an Israeli crime, and it's something we have seen non-stop since October 7th, 2023. But reaching new heights in the Western media today, now that the Zionist lobby has resurrected the Muslim grooming gangs conspiracy to divert attention from Gaza and Israel's global paedophile network. Yes, it's 2025. And we are talking about alleged gangs of British Muslim men who allegedly groom and lure underage girls for sex, with the media again fixated on this racist conspiracy because Elon Musk called for the UK Home Office Minister to be fired after she rejected a request for a government-led inquiry into Muslim grooming gangs. The request was rejected for the simple reason that there's absolutely zero evidence to suggest Muslims or Asian migrants are overrepresented in cases of rape and sexual abuse. A fact affirmed by the UK Home Office 4 years ago, when it stated clearly and unambiguously that the very notion of Muslim grooming gangs is a figment of the far right's imagination. A fact also affirmed by the UK's Ministry of Justice, which claims that white Brits are responsible for 89% of all sex-related crimes, despite white Brits constituting only 83% of the population. A reality underscored by the country's most recent sting operation, in which 21 white individuals were convicted in the West Midlands last year. But what's happening right now, at this very moment, is Elon Musk is using the full power of his $44 billion social media empire to spread and amplify a constant barrage of lies and disinformation to tie Muslims to pedophilia and sexual assault. Because ultimately, anti-Muslim hysteria helps Israel justify its genocide in Gaza. This Muslim grooming gang conspiracy is being pushed and peddled by a nexus of far-right personalities, including the far-right agitator Tommy Robinson, with Elon Musk calling for his release after he was jailed for 18 months after admitting contempt of court by repeating false claims against a Syrian Muslim refugee.
Tech billionaire Elon Musk has stirred global controversy once again, this time championing for the release of jailed far-right British activist Tommy Robinson.
It's a proven fact that Tommy Robinson is funded by a consortium of pro-Israel groups to push anti-Islam propaganda, with one Zionist think tank footing the bills for his recent legal troubles.
Robinson was, and possibly still is, funded by pro-Israel anti-Muslim organizations based out of the US. One source of funds, according to a Guardian investigation, is tech billionaire Robert Shillman, who, until recently was a director of the Friends of the Israeli Defense Forces, has funded Dutch extreme right politician Geert Wilders, and funds journalism at the far-right news outlet Rebel Media. The Times of London spoke to a former colleague of Robinson, Lucy Brown, who said Shillman paid $11,000 a month for him to work there.
6 months ago, Robinson called Palestine a shithole full of inbred Islamist parasites and terrorists. And he also said this.
I notice you're wearing a shirt or a button that says I'm a Zionist. What does a Zionist mean to you? What is a Zionist?
Well, a Zionist is someone who believes in a homeland for Jewish people.
I believe, my definition when I've looked at that in the dictionary is Israel first.
It means Israel first?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
right. Well, you know, there is a negative incantation in a lot of realms about Zionism. And since it does denote that it is Israel first, can you possibly serve two masters? Meaning, can you serve England and Israel at the same time?
Shalom. Listen, let me tell you something. Yeah? If there was a war tomorrow, which there will be, because I'll probably start at the end of the session. If there was a war and it kicked off, I would be there on the front line fighting for.
The pieces to this story are easy to follow. Robinson is funded by Israel. The grooming gangs conspiracy was manufactured by Israel, as I uncovered in a 2017 investigation here. in which a network of pro-Israel and far-right organisations funneled money to UK think tank Quilliam and its director Majid Nawaz to push the conspiracy into the mainstream media. This is where Tommy met with the leaders of Quilliam to tie Islam to sexual violence.
My points, but they can't tackle the point. It says in the Quran that you can take non-Muslim women as slaves. What do they do with slaves? If it's in there, we must explore that avenue.
A meeting was set up in London at the end of August with 2 experts on the Quran. This is the first time Tommy would meet somebody from Quilliam, a counter-extremism think tank.
In 2019, I wrote an article for the UK newspaper Byline Times on how these same pro-Israel and far-right organisations weaponise the grooming gangs conspiracy to incite violence against Muslims in Holland. And it's also incited numerous murderous attacks against Muslims in Britain during the past decade. So, when you add everything together, you have Elon pushing the same agenda as Israel and Tommy Robinson, therefore suggesting that either Elon is controlled by Zionists or that Mossad has some kind of hold over him or dirt on him. But we have no proof here, so let's stick with what we know. And what we know for certain is Elon Musk's ties to Israel are well documented, as we reported 2 years ago. More recently, he was a special guest of the Israeli Prime Minister during his address to the United States Congress in July of last year. And before that, he travelled to Israel to visit October 7th sites with Netanyahu to help the Zionist state manufacture consent in the United States for its genocidal operations in Gaza.
I would say an emotionally difficult day to see the places where people were murdered in the Gaza situation. I mean, there's no choice but to kill those who insist on murdering civilians.
This Israel-backed grooming gang conspiracy isn't only about Elon and Tommy. It involves a host of high-profile commentators in the UK who have established ties to the Zionist-funded Islamophobia industry. I'm talking about journalists like Douglas Murray, who has built a career on demonizing Muslims in the West while claiming Islam is killing Europe. Last year he praised Israel for ignoring Western pleas to end its genocidal campaign in Gaza, and in 2006 he addressed the Dutch Parliament saying conditions for Muslims in Europe must be made harder across the board. And he's also linked to Tommy Robinson, having praised him in 2018 for having the courage to take a stand against non-existent Muslim grooming gangs. And therefore it's no surprise that Elon Musk has praised Murray as an excellent writer. These 3 individuals form a triangle, a Zionist lobby-funded triangle, which is why Murray is now taking to the airwaves to hype the Muslim grooming gang conspiracy in the UK media again.
Underestimated a large number of working class people in this country who saw this happen to relatives of theirs, who had girls in their families who were drugged and raped by Muslim gangs. And when they went to the police, they didn't get any help. When they went to the council, they didn't get any help. When they went to their MPs, generally they didn't get any help.
Israel is desperately trying to change the topic of conversation in the media to not only sabotage solidarity for Palestine, but also to divert attention away from growing media scrutiny over its global paedophile network, the details of which started coming to light a few years ago when an Israeli soldier was arrested in Colombia for heading a child prostitution ring. But just 10 days ago, another shoe dropped when Guatemalan authorities rescued nearly 200 children from a controversial Jewish sect accused of rape, human trafficking, and forced marriage of children.
Más pequeña de 15, 14, sí. Nosotros hacemos casamientos tempranos, sí.
Members of Lev Tahor, an ultra-Orthodox Jewish sect, have been in the news recently after clashing with Guatemalan authorities during a dramatic raid on their compound that resulted in 160 minors and 40 women being placed in protective custody. Allegations of human trafficking led to the raid and the discovery of a child's skeletal remains. The group has a notorious history filled with scandals, but claim they are victims of religious persecution. However, time and time again, the cult-like community has been embroiled in controversies ranging from sexual abuse of minors to kidnappings, with testimonies often coming from former members.
Now here's the thing. If Elon is so concerned about child rape and sexual assault, then why does he ignore everything we have just reported here? And why was he best pals with Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, and why is he best friends with Donald Trump today, a man found liable for sexual assault in a court of law? And even more to the point, How can Elon, Tommy and Douglas be taken seriously about child rape when they defend and evangelize Israel, a state that has become a literal safe haven for pedophiles? I mean, even the Israeli mainstream media has reported how Israel is passing laws that make it easy for Jewish American pedophiles to escape justice by fleeing to Israel. In a recent episode, we revealed how Israel has become the rape capital of the Middle East, with underage girls accounting for nearly 50% of reported sexual abuse cases. This shocking level of abuse goes hand in hand with the fact that 92% of rape investigations are closed without charges laid, and with 75% of convicted sex offenders released from prison early. Needless to say, Palestinian children bear the brunt of this savagery, with one Israeli human rights group reporting that 69% of detained Palestinian children are stripped naked, and another finding that more than 40% are sexually assaulted in one way or another. I mean, for crying out loud, the state of Israel is built on genocide, theft and rape, a reality that's not only been brought to bear during the past 18 months in Gaza, where Israeli soldiers have raped dozens, possibly hundreds of Palestinian detainees, but also in a recent documentary which featured former Israeli soldiers confessing the crimes they committed during the Palestinian genocide of 1948.
נכנס לבית אחד, הכין חדר מיטות עם מיטל, ורצה לזיין אותה.
הילדה חזרה, זה סמרטוט.
השתוללו בטנטור, היה משהו נורא. טנטור היה כפר עשיר, בתים יפים, גרים כמו אירופאים, אתה יודע, וגם אנשים היו לבושות ויפה, וזה באמת היה כפר... אחד אנס שם איזה ילדה בת 16, משהו כזה. אתה מבין? אבל זה מכוער מאוד, היה לנו בחור אחד ונפטר, הוא היה פרא אדם, הוא לקח פשוט מאוד, ורצח אותם בתוך המכלאות.
Now, if you're looking for peak hypocrisy, then look no further than Tommy Robinson's English Defence League, in which no fewer than 20 of his members have been convicted of child sexual exploitation offences, none of whom have been condemned by Robinson. But this is how the Zionist lobby operates. Nothing it says or claims is rooted in fact or reality, only fiction, hypocrisy and deceit. And it's spending billions of dollars on social media advertising to sell a positive image of Israel and a negative image of Palestinians, Islam and Muslims. For this reason, it's of paramount importance that my colleagues in the media not only call out Israel's lies, but also those told by its powerful lackeys, including Elon Musk, who has transformed Twitter into an anti-Muslim hate fest in service of the Zionist agenda. And this is why we urge you to support independent journalism wherever and whenever you can. But that's my time for today. Thanks for watching. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And we kindly ask you please support our effort to expose and confront injustices in the Muslim world by becoming a member of this show at patreon.com/CJWerleman. We can't produce, sustain and grow this show without your help, and we offer exclusive content and benefits to those who do. But for now, good night, good morning, wherever you are, and may you have a blessed 2025.